Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Friday, December 13th, 2024. I am Dave Biddle. I'll be joined by Jonah Booker in just a moment. Ooh, Friday the 13th, huh? All right. Well, this is not going to be a scary edition. It's going to be hopefully a fun and informative edition of the show. Jay Book is always awesome on Fridays. He's probably awesome other days of the week too, but I always talk to him on Fridays, so I know for sure he's awesome on Fridays. Lot to get into. What's our confidence level 1 through 10 that the Buckeyes are going to take care of business, against a hungry, good Tennessee team 8 days from now, 8 nights from now, which is awesome. What's the atmosphere going to be like? J-Book has some things that he's going to share with you guys, hot off the press, some things that he's hearing from the inside about some things Ohio State's cooking up, and maybe what the atmosphere is going to be like at the Shoe next Saturday night. Obviously, portal season's heating up. Playoffs haven't even started yet. Can the Buckeyes land upwards to 3 offensive linemen in the portal? Who might they be? We're going to take a look at that. We'll take some of your questions and much more. Before we bring in J-Book, I'm going to let you guys know once again about our friends over at Mando. I love Mando. If you've been using the same deodorant for years, like I was, it's like decade, like basically since college or high school, is using the same deodorant, I think. I love Mando. It's really good. I like their cream tube deodorant. I like their stick deodorant. They've got a bunch of stuff. Body wash, but I love the cream deodorant, cream tube deodorant. And I like the bourbon leather scent is my favorite. Pro Sport's good. I like bourbon leather the best. Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers or to secure some last-minute stocking stuffers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, and free shipping. As a special offer for our listeners, new customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Use code Bucknuts at shopmando.com, shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando. Again, use that code Bucknuts at shopmando.com to get that extra $5 off. All right. Let's bring in my friend Jonah Booker. J-Book, always good to see you on a Friday, my friend.
Happy Friday. How are you?
I'm doing well. I haven't gotten over, I guess, the loss to that team up north. But I guess the further we get away from it, time heals all wounds. But I'm getting excited for this Tennessee matchup, man. And they're coming here ready. I was on Knoxville radio yesterday. They're ready. They're a good team, and they're hungry. They've never been in the playoffs before. I know it's the first year of the 12-team playoff, but they really haven't been on well, they were relevant 2 years ago. They haven't really been as relevant as their fans would hope since like 1998 when they were national champs. But let's just get our confidence level 1 through 10. What's your confidence level 1 through 10 that Ohio State can get this W next Saturday night?
I'm about a 6 right now, Dave. I still have major question marks when it comes to the offensive line. I think that's going to be the biggest determining factor on how the Buckeyes operate here. Ryan Day still said that they have some changes that they're potentially looking to do as far as the offensive line. So I'm curious to see how that's going to play out. Tennessee is very stout up front, and they are kind of Michigan light, probably have a much deeper rotation than Michigan. But as far as their defensive line, you get a lot of production from the outside as opposed to Michigan, who's very dominant right there at the guard spot. Now, Tennessee, they will have a very solid rotation of guys. So they're going to be sending, 7, 8, 9 guys into that rotation to try to attack. How's the Buckeye offensive line going to hold up? That's my biggest question mark here. And the biggest thing, Dave, is program got to get themselves off the mat. Especially the fans. The fans desperately need something to give them a glimmer of optimism, Dave. Right now, I feel like the program's at a major crossroads because you have some people who are just completely out on Ryan Day. That Michigan game absolutely just crushed a lot of people's soul. You still have some people who are holding on hope that they can try to make some type of run, get off the mat here. And now you're at a situation where you got Herbstreit talking about first thing that's going to happen is boo Ryan Day as soon as some type of adversity hit. So that kind of tells you the mind frame that people have surrounding this program right now.
Yeah, that's just Herbie taking a shot at Ohio State fans for no reason because he's mad that they're mad at him. That's all that was. That's ridiculous. So to insinuate that, first of all, they deserve to be booed. That was the worst offensive game plan I've ever seen against Michigan. And then what was even worse than that was they didn't adjust. So I don't mind the fans booing multimillionaire coaches when they're coming out there and they lay an egg like that. And Herb Street, Herb Street knows. I mean, Neyland Stadium is no joke. You definitely would not want to play that game at Neyland Stadium if you not that Ohio State couldn't win there. I mean, they almost beaten Oregon at Oregon, but like you would much rather have this game at the Horseshoe. And we're going to go ahead.
I was going to say, you know how ridiculous that sounds? Hey, let's go play a playoff game in December in SEC territory in front of a ruckus 100,000+ fans so that our head coach doesn't have to be booed when he doesn't do his job. Like, you know how crazy that sounds
from her? Yeah, I mean, and I love Joey Galloway, but it's like this is like twice within like 3 weeks-ish that former Ohio State players have just said insane things on ESPN, either during the selection show itself, Herb Street, or during one of their, ranking reveal shows. When Galloway said that Indiana should sit Curtis Rourke out of the Ohio State game just to preserve him for the playoffs, it's like, geez, what would have been interesting is if, you know how Joey is, if Rourke would have got hurt against Ohio State, Joey would have been like, see, I told you guys. But anyway, Okay, I got to give my answer. I'm close to you. I went with a 7. I was almost convinced you were going to say 7 just because we're always like on the same page, but we're pretty damn close. 7. So I look at it I'm pretty simple about this. Like I give Ohio State roughly a 70% chance of winning this game. I mean, if I was giving like if I had to tick up or tick down as far as my confidence level, I probably would be closer to a 6.5 than a 7.5. So maybe I'm like a 6.8, but I'm going to go with a 7. I feel like Ohio State's going to win this game, but I'm not ultra confident about it. Like I gave it a 9.5 going into the Michigan game. That's how I felt. Right. I thought there was a 95% chance. I still feel like if they played Michigan again, I would still say that. If you don't come in with I don't need to repeat myself. We all know what happened there. So I give Ohio State a 7 out of a 10 chance here. And this is, as you mentioned, man, this is like a better version of Michigan. Not that they have a Mason Graham, but they have a great edge rusher in Pierce. They've got good D tackles. Again, not Mason Graham level, Kenneth Graham, but good. They're deep, like you said. Linebackers might be a little susceptible because of injuries. Good team, though, man. And what do you think about, before we move on to the atmosphere, what do you think about their fans? Their fans are going to travel. I'm not buying for a second they're going to take over Ohio Stadium. Get out of here with that. But their fans will travel. We'll see some orange in the stands for sure.
Yeah, they'll travel. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you saw 15 to 20,000 in there, Dave. But you're talking about 100 plus, stadium thousand. So I don't think they're going to absolutely take over. They'll be there, no doubt about it. It's a pretty big deal for them. But people forget, because we kind of live in the echo chamber of social media here. There are hundreds of thousands of Ohio State fans who are not on social media that are absolutely diehard fans that absolutely plan to show up at this game and be loud. So we just kind of see, what we see as far as the small community on Twitter X. But when you take a step back, there are season ticket holders and a lot of people who are Buckeye fans that are very excited about this game.
That's such a great point, because you think about it without, just subconsciously, it's like, well, yeah, the majority of Buckeye fans are on Twitter and it's got people we're talking to. That's actually probably a vast minority of the Buckeye fans. So, echo chamber is a good way to put it, our little bubble. All right, man, I'm looking forward to this reveal. I didn't ask you any details because I wanted to hear, what you're hearing. You have a source inside at OSU, and I'm curious, what are they doing to, cook up a better environment, next Saturday night?
Right. So I talked to somebody within the athletic department fairly high up yesterday, and kind of told me that Ross Bjork somewhat misspoke a little bit when he was on 97-1 Morning Juice talking about the atmosphere and the college football playoff will be controlling a lot of the in-game operations. And I was told it was sort of they do have to play a Tennessee intro video that's required by the CFPB. But outside of some typical PSA videos that the CFP has for them. They will be controlling, meaning Ohio State, the production. It will be like a typical home game. But I was told they don't have to do a lot of the local ads that typically kill the environment a lot of times at the shoe. And I told them straight up, I'll go, hey man, though all of the ads and stuff that you guys are constantly running and the goofy games and stuff, that kills it. I was like, you guys need to do a better job in that. And they said, I agree. Now there will be some ads from the college football playoff committee regarding like the Rose Bowl, trying to solicit people because the winner of that game plays Oregon in the Rose Bowl. So they will have to play a lot of those videos. They had a call yesterday, the internal team at Ohio State with the playoff committee, to kind of finalize everything. But during timeouts, they're going to be able to prime the crowd up and not play the sponsor stuff. So that's a big thing that they're very excited about. As Ross mentioned on the radio, they'll have the drone show. They'll have pyro going off. They'll be able to actually utilize the red lights. They haven't been able to use them because of Big Noon on Fox. So that's going to be kind of cool to see. As far as like the scoreboards, and just let you know, they said they've been listening to the fans. They hear the fans and a lot of their complaints, and they say that they are committed to definitely kind of help the atmosphere. They say you'll see some different layouts as far as the boards, not a lot of ads going on and off of the scoreboard that you would typically see during the home game. But yeah, they're excited about it. I mean, they're saying that they're going to be able to queue up times for the crowd to get loud all throughout the stadium, as opposed to having the ads and stuff. So they're tweaking those things, but they're excited. They think it's going to be an electric atmosphere. I know the way Ross kind of talked about it on the radio, it made a lot of people think that, hey, this is going to be something like a neutral site, even though it's a home game, but they're going to be controlled by the playoff committee. But I was told it's not going to be to that extent. They do have some things that they have to abide by, but for the most part, this will be a true Ohio State environment. So that's what I was told.
I like that attitude that they're taking. They're not being defensive about it. They're not saying, no, it's just because there was noon games and we're doing a great job and it'll be fine. Like, they're actually listening to the fans. You know, have they done a good enough job? I mean, you could say argument they haven't. Even though it's at noon, the atmosphere has not been as good. But is that all on the Ohio State's, ops team? No. Part of that's on just on the fans, but they can do a better job. And the fact they're listening to the fans, I like hearing that. And here's another thing, man. We know the shoe can get rocking. I mean, I can give you dozens of examples where it was like you couldn't even hear yourself think. We've talked about it a lot on the show now. Too often, it's not like that. But we know it can be like that. And I have no doubt it's going to be like that next Saturday night. I love what you're hearing.
It's going to be great. I think it's going to be a great atmosphere for the fans, and the fact, like you mentioned, the fact that they're saying, hey, we hear you. And from what I've been told, the local ads, they're going to have some type of conversations going into next season, once all of those local ads and stuff are required to be read throughout the games, like trying to figure out a flow to where we can get the ads read for our sponsors, and then also make sure that we're keeping an electric atmosphere. So Ross Bjork took a lot of people out to Oregon when they played, just to kind of get a feel for what their atmosphere was like, which was, from what I told, incredibly loud and amazing for a college atmosphere. And so they're saying, hey, we hear you. We hear you. We're going to be trying to do things. And I believe this playoff game will give them the opportunity to try some new things out that they're typically not allowed to do.
Now, we have some people that are wanting to know about O-line transfer portal situations for the Buckeyes. Oh, we're going to get to that, my friends. Butch asking specifically about the young man, Isaiah World. He's saying, are you hearing any chatter about the offensive lineman from Nevada? Butch on Facebook. Yes, we are. We're going to get into that in just a moment. So after the jump, so to speak. But I want to let you guys know about Prize Picks. I love daily fantasy, and Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app, and we can get you guys a really, really good deal here. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action, and they have made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 200 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. This coming Sunday in Nashville for the Bengals-Titans showdown. I use showdown loosely there. I'm picking Joe Burrow, more than 265 passing yards. He leads the NFL by a wide margin in passing yards, passing touchdowns. I'm just focused on the yards here. I think Burrow's going to get over 265 passing yards. And I have Tony Pollard more than 69 rushing yards. Tony Pollard against this porous Bengals defense, even if he splits carries a little bit, I like him going over 69. So pair those two together on Prize Picks. You can do well for yourself. Now, download the Prize Picks app today. Use code Bucknuts to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the Prize Picks app today. Use code Bucknuts to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Man, if the Bengals had just not sucked one of the games that they sucked against a really bad team, like let's say the Patriots or you name it, they'd be right there in the mix. Instead, they're sitting here at 5-8. They're the best 5-8 team in football. They have more points scored than given up, and they're 5-8. That's hard to do in the NFL. Anyway, I digress.
You guys got it. You still got an outside shot to make the playoffs if they can run the table, Dave. I mean, you got one of the easiest schedules down the stretch.
And I think there's a chance they could finish 9-8. I just don't know if 9-8 is going to get in the AFC. I know there's a chance. You're right. They have a chance. You're telling me there's a chance.
There's a chance.
Are you telling me there's a chance Ohio State's going to land 3 offensive linemen from the portal during this offseason? I hope so. Let's start with the young man that the listener was asking about. Isaiah World is his name. He's a big guy, 6'8", 310, University of Nevada. He started every game at left tackle for them. He's at Texas A&M today. But Bill Kurelic reported that Ohio State has now, jumped Kentucky in the pecking order, and Kentucky was believed to be the favorite, but he's visiting A&M today. And Jonah, he's going to visit Ohio State soon. We don't know exactly when, but what are your thoughts on Isaiah World?
Yeah, definitely need him. Play tackle, has over 2,000 snaps, so he's played a lot of football. I've seen some kind of quotes or comments saying that Justin Fry was talking to him about the guard position. If that's true, I don't understand what they're talking about. I mean, this kid is 6'8", Dave. We can't do this.
He's not like a thick 6'8". He's 6'8", 310.
Right. So you can't put this kid as a guard. He's a tackle all the way. I mean, we tried to have the big guards like 2 years ago whenever Paris and Dewan was here, and that didn't work out very well because the guards were way too big and they couldn't fire off the ball with leverage. So the running game suffered. So I'm not sure what they're talking about there, but I would definitely say get this kid in the fold. 24/7 has him ranked as the #1 offensive line target in the portal. So I would definitely give him a shot. He did very well. Here's a crazy thing too, Dave, is he had an 82.2 score on pass blocking according to PFS, which was an outstanding pass blocking grade. Just so in the 58s as far as the run blocking, and that's to be expected for a guy that's 6'8" out there on the edge. So I definitely think that get him in the fold. That's going to be critical because he can play that tackle position. You got Josh Thompson from Northwestern who's visiting. Is it today or
he's visiting? Yep, Josh, that was the next on my list. Yes, sir. You read my mind. Josh Thompson from Northwestern, interior offensive lineman, visiting here today. Not here at my house, down the road at Ohio State. He can come over here if he wants. Get some wings. Whatever he wants to do.
Yeah, so you got to get I think Josh Thompson will be a heck of a pickup if they can close the deal with him. Now, he is a guard. They desperately need tackles, but if you can still get a talent like Josh Thompson in here, you take that all day, every day. So I definitely like him. They were looking at the MAC offensive lineman, Tarantayo. He ended up committing to Cincinnati. So I'm not sure how much in love they were with him. I know that was a name that was on the tracker to look at. So they still have some guys. They have Gunnar Hansen from Vanderbilt that they're looking at, another tackle. Luke Bakalenko, I think that's how you say his name, Bakalenko out of Stanford, a tackle who should be coming up for a visit. They like Jordan White, who's a guard, a transfer from Liberty. But there's so many offensive linemen, Dave, out there right now. I mean, there shouldn't be any problem for Ohio State to get 3, even 4 quality offensive linemen in the portal. I mean, you're talking about hundreds of guys. The very first day that the portal opened, there were like 65 offensive linemen just the very first day. Now you also had a lot of guys who had preemptively put their name in the portal several days before, so I didn't even count those. But all in all, from the week of the portal all the way up to now, you're talking about hundreds of offensive linemen that those guys can go after that have played. And my biggest thing, Dave, and let me know if I'm crazy. Here, if I was running the offensive line, how we're going to manage this roster, and I tweeted this out earlier this week. Let me know what you think. This is how I would do it. Okay. First, we're going to start with the big dogs, the national top recruits. Okay. Words out that Ohio State doesn't like to overspend for the offensive line because they believe it's a developmental position. Boo hoo. You got to chalk it up. You got to stomach it. If you want big dogs who are going to develop throughout your program, who's going to be ready a lot sooner, you're going to have to overspend. So let's go ahead and overspend for 1, maybe 2 national blue chip guys. Second step, I need to turn over every rock in the state of Ohio. You're going to be having 20 plus extra scholarships next year. Go and find me 3 to 4 junkyard dogs who are nasty in the state of Ohio who wants to be Buckeyes. They're going to probably take a little bit longer to develop, but boom, you're now sitting at 4, maybe 5, just with those first 2 plans. Overspending for national, get me some junkyard dogs in Ohio who are going to stay here and they're going to develop, and they're going to be the backbone of that offensive line. Then every year you're going to turn around and find yourself 1 to 2 veteran offensive linemen, which will then buy you a little bit of time while those Ohio kids are developing. 500 plus the snaps minimum. You need to be able to have the verifiable tape on some of these veterans to show that they can come in and contribute right away. That's going to buy you a little bit of time. With the 20 plus scholarships coming, Dave, there should never be a situation where they don't have a minimum of at least 5 offensive linemen every single year. You shouldn't have to be in a situation as a program to where you just need bodies. Forget about having an elite offensive line of bunch of nasty dudes up front. We're in a situation going into next year is they need bodies.
It's so disappointing with what they've done with the offensive line situation. They just put so much. I don't know if they put so many eggs in, the basket of going after wide receivers, or if Brian Hartline's just really damn good at it. I know the latter is true. There's no doubt Brian Hartline's really damn good at it. But man, I mean, getting 5-star receivers is great, but like they just don't put enough emphasis on the offensive line. There was all this talk about the great running back tandem this year, the great wide receivers, that Will Howard's going to be good, but and the offensive line actually was playing well till they had the injuries. And credit to Seth McLaughlin, despite the season-ending injury, not even playing in the last 2.5 games or last 2 games, he still wins the Remington Award as the nation's best center.
That's amazing.
So,
I mean, think about that, Dave. Alabama basically kicked him out and was blaming a lot of their issues and on him. And I truly believe Jalen Milroe played a big part on that. And Seth also said he was playing hurt last year, and he comes here and wins the Remington Award. I mean,
kudos, and he's a really good kid too. Like, he does stuff for he did this back home, and he does it. He's doing it here, and he's actually from Georgia. He actually was same high school. He took over for Harry Miller as at Buford as the starting center there after Harry left. Does a lot with food banks and stuff. Does a lot with just charities in general. He's just a good young man. He's going to play in the NFL. He's going to get through this Achilles injury and play in the NFL. Yeah, man, it's just ridiculous. I mean, so they entered this year, turns out, with a pretty good starting offensive line, and Justin Fry was doing a good job with it. The problem, as you just illustrated, is the lack of depth. and
Yeah.
they have not put enough emphasis in building depth on the offensive line, and it's just
Right.
mind-boggling to me. All right,
It's kind of like a
go ahead.
twofold because you got to give them credit for Seth coming here and winning the Remington Award, and Josh Simmons coming here and transferring and potentially being a first round pick. But you also have to ding them because, okay, you do good with the starting offensive line, but you're not very good developing the next wave of kids. Um, because you look at Tegra, who's been in the program for 3 years, and he's taken a major step back. Austin Saraville, just okay, not anything to really write home about. And
Luke
then you look,
Montgomery. Have we seen any progress from Luke Montgomery?
yeah, no progress from Luke Montgomery, and some of your evaluations, we're not seeing them contributing right now. Do you credit a lot of the progress that he's getting from portal kids who probably just needed some tweaking from coaching, but was probably kind of already there? I don't know. It's such a weird dynamic when it comes to him because you want to give him credit for the way the starting offensive line had looked, but then you look at what's behind him and there's nothing there. And then you look at the recruiting and you're like, what the heck, dude?
Get you out of here on this, my friend. I want to get your thoughts on the quarterback situation next year overall. Do you think it's definitely Julian Sand as the starter like I do? And what do you expect from him? Which guys, hopefully nobody other than Devin Brown. And I'm glad D Brown's sticking around for the playoffs. I love how he's handling this. I'll always be rooting for DB33. Any of the other guys going to transfer? Hopefully not. I know I'm asking you to spitball here. And just, are they going to bring, there's been some talk they could bring in a transfer at quarterback. Just what are your thoughts on the QB situation next year, JB?
Man, it's kind of crazy, Dave, because I think it's going to be contingent on what's going to happen within probably the next 2 weeks. Meaning that if you have another quarterback that enters the portal from there, you have no choice but to then go and find another arm. You're banking a lot on Julian Sand. I mean, when you look at him, he's a smallish type of quarterback, and so you're hoping that he kind of takes that jump physically and mentally as a quarterback. But I do think that he will probably be the clubhouse leader starting in the spring as far as Julian Sand. But now, if you're in a dire situation, man, I feel like next year, without a doubt, I know what Ross Bjork has said about Ryan Day, but I feel like next year is one of those moments to where it could be career defining for him. And so you can't worry about feelings of players right now. You have to, if you can find a quarterback in the portal who you believe is going to give you the best opportunity to win a national championship and beat, or most importantly, beat Michigan, then you have to go and get that quarterback. But I'm curious, Dave, because there's been a lot of smoke out there that they really want to bring in another arm. If they do bring in another arm who is a veteran quarterback who's played a lot of football, what does that do to the rest of your quarterback room? I don't know. It's a delicate balance that they're going to have to try to maneuver through because these kids have a lot of the power in their hands. I mean, if Lincoln and Air, not saying that they are, if they just say, "Hey, this isn't for me," now you're talking about a quarterback room with Julian Sand and Tavian St. Clair, a true freshman. That's less than idea. So you have to probably go out there and get yourself a veteran quarterback just in case. Even if it's a Tristan Gebbia type of quarterback, I don't know, but you're going to have to get somebody.
Yeah, chugging off or yeah, Gebbia. Yeah, I was thinking about that too. Hopefully it's something like that because if they do that, that means that they're confident in saying, or they're
Yeah,
confident in one of the other guys, or they're confident in saying, and they think, oh, and by the way, Aaron Nolan's going to be a heck of a backup if we need him, or Tavian St. Clair is a true freshman. Although I would caution people, as I did on Wednesday's show, be patient with Tavian St. Clair. The kid, I mean, he's playing small school Ohio football.
right.
I think it's going to take a couple years with Tavian, but he's dripping with potential.
Here's what I say though, Dave.
Yeah.
The perfect scenario is you look at the talent in that room and you say, "Hey, we trust our evaluation. We trust our plan for these quarterbacks. We're going to develop them at the highest level. And we have the utmost confidence that these guys that we have in this quarterback room will be able to beat Michigan and put this team in a national championship situation to where, hey, we're right there in the mix. You look at the schedule that was released last year, the floor is 10 wins when you look at that schedule. They
Right.
have essentially 3 games: Texas, Penn State, Michigan. Everybody else, they should absolutely just roll. Um, so hopefully that the development at the quarterback position and where it needs to be. If not, then that has to be a major red flag, and somebody needs to stop and say, what the heck's going on here? Because you're talking about a room full of 5-star high school quarterbacks, and you're not getting the development out of them like you're supposed to. So you're going to have to go rely on another quarterback, portal quarterback again. That's just something that I will be keeping an eye on, Dave, because you want to be able to say, hey, our development is top notch at the quarterback position. We don't need to go get a starting quarterback. We can go get a quarterback as far as a live arm who's going to be throwing a scout team to keep these guys fresh. But that's about it.
Great insights as always from Jonah Booker. Thank you, Jay Book. Happy Friday the 13th to you, my friend.
Hey, same to you, man. Next week,
Can't
we'll
wait.
be talking, and then it's game week.
Oh, it's prediction time next Friday. Oh, baby.
Hey,
Bust out the
what's the
predictions.
forecast going to be looking like? What's it looking like now for
We'll
next
be
week?
down in the 20s by kickoff. I think it's going to be a high of who knows? This is subject to change. Obviously, when we're talking about 8 days from now, let's see if it's still So now the high has ticked down to 29, so it'll be in the 20s all day. Low of 22, high of 29 on Saturday in Columbus, Ohio.
You know what?
Next
You know what I'm.
Saturday.
You know what I'm gonna be excited to see who's going to be the guys that come out there with no sleeves on.
Better be Ohio State's linemen, right? I mean, the skill position guys don't have to wear. They can wear.
You think Jeremiah Smith come out there with no sleeves on?
He's coming out with sleeves. The young man is from like Miami. He's coming out in sleeves, or that area. He's coming out in sleeves. That's fine. I don't mind my wide receivers coming out in sleeves, but the linemen need to be sleeveless.
We next Friday for fun, we might have to, pick 5 to 7 players, each one of us, and make a guess. Will this person come out with sleeves or no sleeves Saturday? And then see how it is, how it plays out on Saturday night.
I'm definitely going to base it on where they're from,
Yeah.
Donovan Jackson's from Texas. I could see him wearing some sleeves, although I don't know. Tough guy.
Donnie not gonna wear sleeves.
It doesn't matter where you're from if you're a tough guy like Donnie. You're right. You're right, man. You're right. I know Seth wouldn't be wearing sleeves. He's a Southern boy.
Look, Agent Posh said Quinshawn is going to be in the crop top. That'd be awesome if he was in the crop top in 20 degrees.
Yeah. Hey, there you go. Get out there, run around a little bit. You'll be fine. Get the blood moving, blood flowing. All right. Great stuff as always, man. Really appreciate you. He is Jonah Booker. Thank you, sir.
All right, Dave. Talk to you next week, buddy.
All right, man. Have a good weekend. All right. And there we go, my friends. I do want to let you know before I get out of here about Factor Meals again. And I love this story because it's a true story, and we're making a difference out here. I say that a little bit in jest, but seriously, I've been telling you guys. So Factor, if you don't know, it's awesome. They bring these really good microwave meals, and you're thinking microwave meals? They're fresh, it's high quality, never frozen. You pop them in your fridge when they get delivered to you, and then you pop them in your microwave. They're ready in 2 minutes. No prep, no cleanup, and it tastes really good. And it's high quality food that's never been frozen. Okay, so got a guy that I work with on my side job, radio station here in town, and I've been telling the story all week. And I love this though. And he's still using one of those old school microwave meals. Every time I fill in with him, he would make one of those. Halfway through the show, he's making one of those microwave old school frozen meals from like 1985. And I explained Factor to him. He's interested. Told me he can get you 50% off. Very interested. And now he's hooked. He loves Factor. I mean, it's light years better than these frozen microwave meals that we've had for years. So now you guys can do that as well, because you can head to factormeals.com/bucknuts50. Use code Bucknuts50 to get 50% off your first box, 20% off your next month. That's code Bucknuts50 at factormeals.com/Bucknuts50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. And you pick the meals. If you want blackened salmon, you get blackened salmon. You want some, filet mignon, chicken and mushrooms. You pick, or if you're a vegetarian, pick all vegetarian stuff. Keto, they have all that. They have sides like, side dishes. They also have like other add-ons like smoothies. So you pick it. So then here you go. Get 50% off with at factorymeals.com/bucknuts50. Use code bucknuts50 to get 50% off. What a great deal. All right. Appreciate you guys very much for joining me. And thank you very much to J Book. Love the Friday show with J Book. And thank you very much to all of you for tuning in. We appreciate that very much. Hey, we're about 8 days away. We are 8 days away from the playoff game at Ohio Stadium. That's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully it's a lot of fun, right? It's going to be a lot of fun, in my opinion. Thanks again to J Book. Thanks to all of you. Hope everyone has a great day and a great weekend. Go Bucks.